in a seat if you have a pillow or a block to sit up on. Awesome. That can feel really nice on the hips. For me, it's a lot easier on my low back, just in general, always, not just right now, but especially right now. All right, I'm gonna sit up here. You might notice we have some like extra boxes you might see in frame. We've been doing a lot of projects here, trying to accomplish a lot before the second baby enters our life. We know we probably won't accomplish many things after that happens. So okay. So once you have a pillow or a block set up, just go ahead and find that comfortable seat. And take a few shoulder rolls whenever you're ready. So just get yourself into a place that feels nice and supported in your seat, but then also find a little bit of lightness in the upper body if you can right away. So if that means moving your head side to side, taking a few neck rolls as well, noticing where you might be holding tension. For me, that's often in between my shoulder blades, just by nature of working at a computer, sitting at a desk. Maybe even this time of year, you find yourself like huddled in a little bit more rather than opening up, enjoying all the sun and the warmth. And then once you start to find a neutral spine, so sitting up nice and tall, so the weight of your head is just right on top. Maybe not noticing how your head, the weight of your head, can oftentimes shift forward a bit. Maybe you consider just like moving the weight of the head around and feel like you can let it land right on top of that naturally curved spine, and then close your eyes. Then just become aware of your breath before we start to add in any movement. Let that be your foundation today. And when you become aware of your breath, notice your next inhale. And then see if your exhale can match in length or maybe even be a little bit longer. And you might even slow down the breath to allow that to happen. So breathing in just a little bit more. And then emptying out a little bit more. Take a few more rounds, just like that. And then see if you can just sit up a little bit taller, like there was an invisible string attached to the top of your head, the top of your skull. And then keep that length in the spine. Now just drop your chin towards your chest, just to feel the back of the neck lengthen a bit more. And then roll your right ear over to the right. It's like one of my favorite things to do to start. Just start to like intentionally move the spine from the neck down. And then you'll roll your chin back to your chest, and then your head, the weight of your head dips over to the left. So you feel that length in the right side. And you'll come back to center. Now lift your chin, lift your face. You might even open the eyes. And then come back to neutral. Look straight ahead. Now, similar to what we did last week, I want you to sweep your arms out and up. Take a big breath in, reach up overhead. And then as you exhale, twist to the right. So your left hand can rest on your thigh or your knee or just even into your lap. Just thinking about turning the shoulders as best you can over to the right. And then this time, rather than looking over your right shoulder, look over your left. So you're twisting in two different directions in the spine. And then look straight ahead, reach the hands up. And now twist to the left with your whole body first. Then look over your right shoulder. Stay here, just take a full breath in. Big breath out. So nice. And now look straight ahead, reach both hands up. Big breath in. Drop your right hand down and then tip your torso over to the right side. Like you're reaching with your left fingertips a little bit more to create a little more space in the side body. And then you'll come back up, reach both hands up. Left hand will drop, right hand reaches over. And then you'll come up. And then meet me in hands and knees, tabletop pose, whenever you're ready. There's no rush to get there. You can move that pillow off to the side a bit. And once you're in hands and knees, spread your fingers nice and wide. And then start to make lateral movements side to side. So instead of going right into cat-cow, I'd like you to make a C curve with the spine in both directions. See if your head and your tailbone can almost be an extension of that line as you move side to side. And then come back to neutral. Now let the belly sink down a bit, let the tailbone rise, and either look straight ahead or start to think about lifting your chin up or your sternum draws forward. And then exhale to round into cat pose. So your upper back presses up to the sky, look down in between your knees. Do that one more time. Inhale to find cow. Exhale to find cat. Come back to neutral. And then you'll walk your hands up your thighs. So you're just coming onto your knees. If that feels okay, take a shrug of the shoulders as you breathe in. Allow them to fall down and back. Now start to you can take your hands to your hips for balance. Step your right foot forward. And if that feels okay, just rock the hips forward a bit and then pull back. Do that one more time. Rock forward. And just to lengthen the front of that left hip a bit and then pull back. Reach both hands up overhead. And then you'll find a twist again. This time, left hand goes forward. Right hand can either reach behind you or come to your low back. Your choice. Take a breath in and then out. You'll reach both hands up on an inhale. And then take your hands down inside of that right foot. And then if you can, tuck your back toes, lift the knee off the ground, and then spin that heel down to come up to warrior two. So take it as you need it. You might even shorten your stance. And then your arms go out wide. Take a breath in and a breath out. Now straighten both legs, reach arms overhead, parallel the feet. Bring your hands to your hips and then think about lifting your sternum on an inhale, maybe even look up. And then hinge at your waist here. Bend your knees a lot because it's early. And then fold forward. Drop your head down if that feels okay. You can even shake it. Yes, no, let gravity do a little bit of work for your neck here. So now the weight of your head is towards the ground, lessening that load on the neck. And if you want, you can even take little side bends, bending one knee and then the other. That might feel nice, just to lengthen the back of the legs a little bit more. Maybe the inner thighs start to lengthen as you shift side to side. And then come to almost like a flat back here. And start to bring your hands to your hips again. You're going to stand up, but do so slowly. Once you're here, shrug your shoulders on an inhale. Soften them down your back on an exhale. And then just step to the front of your mat. So we'll come here and take your arms down along your sides, palms face forward. We're just in a simple mountain pose. Take a breath in to fill all the way up. And a breath out to soften. Do that one more time. Breathe in to fill up, nice and slow. Breathe out to soften. Excellent. Now heel toe your feet just a little bit wider apart, so about hips width distance. And then start to bend your knees like you were sitting in a chair. And so you're bringing a little bit more heat, a little more work in the thighs. And then rather than rounding the shoulders forward, think about drawing them back and lifting the sternum up. If you want, you can reach your hands up, arms alongside your ears. If you can, take a breath in and out. One more full inhale. Thank goodness you're not here forever. And then you'll exhale, fold forward to your degree, of course. Take a halfway lift, hands to your shins or your knees. And then exhale, you'll plant your hands and then just step your left foot back. Drop your left knee down. Reach hands back up. Now you'll stay here in this similar shape you were in before, a lunge, but take your right hand, grab onto your left wrist, and then tip your torso over to the right to get that length through the left side. And then reach up on an inhale. Your right knee comes to meet your left. Tabletop pose. Hands return to the ground. Breath in to find cow. Breath out to find cat. Take one more like that. Nice slow inhale to feel the sternum rise. Exhale, feel the upper back round. And you'll come back to neutral. Start to then walk your hands up your thighs. Come back onto both knees. Torso will lift. Your hands can come onto your hips and step your left foot forward into a lunge. And your hands can stay on your hips for stability. Maybe rock your hips, rock your weight a little further forward. And then you'll pull back just a bit. And do that one more time. So not the deepest lunge you've ever taken, but maybe you find a little more strength in the legs, right? So the goal is not about how much we can stretch or how deeply we can stretch, but how much we can create length and strength at the same time. So nice. And then start to reach your hands up. Stay in that lunge if you can. Right hand will go forward, left hand either behind you, or I like to bring it to my low back or to my hip. And take a breath in to stay. A breath out to twist. You'll reach both hands back up on an inhale. And then your hands will come down inside that foot, inside your left foot. Tuck your back toes if you can, and then lift the back knee to spin that heel down, and you'll come up to warrior two. If you need to shorten the stance to take less of that or more of that load, rather, away from that back foot, by all means, go for it. Wherever you land, you bend that front knee. Arms go wide. You're just here for one more breath in and a breath out. Straighten the leg. Parallel the feet, facing the long edge of your mat. Hands come to your hips, or if you want a little bit more opening in the chest, You can place one hand on top of the other, right on your low back, right on your sacrum. So then lift the chin, lift the sternum, and then stay here. This might feel really, really good, or fold forward. Another option to take is standing upright here. You can send your heels in a bit and your toes out, and then you can bend your knees. So taking almost like a wide squat here, your choice. So whether you want that length in the back of the legs, or if you want a little more strength as you find that squat, you're here just for 3 full rounds of breath. So if you have folded forward and you want to take that side lunge, bending one knee and the other, that movement, go for it. If you just want to bend forward and hang out, also fine. And then even if you're upright, stay for one more breath in and out. And start to straighten the legs if they're bent. Come to a flat back if you're folded. And then we'll all meet in standing. Nice and slow. Take your time, of course. Pause once you're there. Take a breath in. Maybe take a roll of the shoulders. And out. And then just step to the top of your mat. Plant both feet. Arms down along your sides. Pausing here for a few rounds of breath. Being okay with just standing still. Might be foreign, might feel strange, but know that it's productive. You'll take a breath in and out. Maybe even bring one hand to your belly or both. As you breathe in, feel that space expand. And exhale, soften. One more. Breathe in and out. Either staying like that, or if you want that last little chair pose, you can heel toe your feet a little bit further apart and then bend your knees like you're sitting back in a chair. Doesn't have to be super deep, just enough where you can feel a little bit of work happening in the legs, and then reach your arms up, or you can bring your hands to your heart center, whatever feels better for your body. Breathe in. One last exhale. One more inhale, and then fold forward. Take a halfway lift here. Again, hands to your shins or your knees. And you can plant your hands, just step your right foot back, drop the right knee. Reach your hands up, returning to that little lunge. And now it's your left hand that will wrap around your right wrist. Lean over to the left. And you'll come back up. Left knee comes to meet the right, tabletop pose. Take a breath in to find cow. Breath out to find cat. And back to neutral, return to that C curve, side to side. So thinking about your right ribs, moving to the right, and then shifting over to the left. Completing that. And then come to a seat. Just swing your legs around in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. We don't have to sit on a block. We're not here too long. Maybe hands come to your knees. As you sit up tall, take a breath in. Maybe open up your mouth, letting out a sigh as you exhale, softening the jaw as well. One more breath in and out. And maybe take your legs out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a shake. Maybe roll the ankles in both directions. And then take your feet a little bit wider apart if you have the space to do so. And so rather than having your feet straight forward to fold, we'll take a little bit more of like a pizza sort of shape in the legs. And then sit up nice and tall first. So you might even bring your hands behind you and touch the hands. So the pads of the fingers press down and you feel the heart, the sternum lift. Now keep that sense of lifting rather than rounding right away as you start to almost use your hands to tilt your pelvis forward. And then you might even just stay right here. Might be an awesome place to stay where you feel that stretch happening in the back of the legs already. And that feels good for you. You want to stay. You want to walk your hands forward and that feels more supportive. Awesome, you can. So it's not about how low you go. It's just about how you can create a little bit of sensation to create a little bit more space in the body. So goal is not nose on the ground. Goal is just to create a little bit more space wherever you are. Take one breath in. Soften something, whether it's your jaw, features of your face, shoulders, elbows. Breathe in and out. So nice. Now walk your hands back so you can sit up nice and tall. Reach both hands up towards the sky. And then start to tip over towards the right. So you're taking this as a side bend, not a twist, right? So you can drop your right hand down right inside that right leg. If you have a pillow or you have a block, I like to bring it like right inside of that right leg and then bring my forearm right on top of it. And then start to think about shifting my heart or rotating just a bit up towards the ceiling rather than rounding here. So again, the goal is not to touch your toes. The goal is finding length through the fingertips and reaching from that left hip. Make sure that left hip is grounded. So you have something to reach away from. Take a full breath in and out. So nice. And then just the counter here, take your left hand behind you, plant it, and then reach your right hand up to the sky, just straight up, and then maybe slightly back. And then you'll come back to neutral. If you have that block, shift it to the other side, your left side. Now you reach both hands up to the sky. And then think about tipping your torso towards your left toes, but the goal is not to touch them. You can bring that left forearm or left hand down for support. And you can reach through your right fingertips here. So we're creating more space in the side body again, but also creating a little more space for the low back. Stay a breath in and out. One more inhale and exhale. So nice. And then you'll come up to counter. Right hand plants behind you. Reach the left hand up to the sky. You can look up towards that hand. And then bring both hands down in front of you. You can move that block off to the side. If you know you want a pillow for your final rest, have it close by. We'll make our way onto our back. So take both feet in front of you. One last little shake of the legs. And then you'll lie down on your back. Once you're there, bend your knees and heel toe your feet a little wider apart and let your knees knock together. And bring your hands to your torso if that feels restful. And since we just spent that time in external rotation, finding the internal rotation of the thigh bones right here might feel really nice, especially on your low back. So just pause for a moment. Let the spine resettle as you breathe in and out. Now you have the option to stay right here, or if you'd like a little back bend, you can bend or keep your knees bent, but heel toe your feet back in line with your hips. And make sure your all 10 toes are pointing straight forward. Keep your heels firmly planted if you can, toes as well. And arms come down along your sides, palms facing down. Now start to press down through your feet to lift your seat up for bridge. Now it doesn't have to be the highest your hips have ever gone. It doesn't have to be this huge back bend. It can be super gentle, super nice, just enough to bring a little bit more heat into the glutes, the back of the legs, especially after all of that stretching, that lengthening. Can you bring in a little strength? Take one more breath in here, and then you'll slowly release that low back onto the ground. Now you might just stay here, or if it feels good, heel toe your feet a little wider apart, and then maybe even windshield wiper your knees side to side. So just gentle rocking of the pelvis. If that's not your jam, knees come together and you find stillness. You're just here for 3, 2, 1. Come back to neutral. And then you can choose to stay here or hug your knees towards your armpits, right? And sometimes it feels really nice just to hold on to the knees. Maybe you rock, maybe you don't. And you stay here. Maybe you even hold on to the bottom of your feet for happy baby pose. Can be a nice stretch in the inner thighs, but you can also stay by just holding onto your knees. Excellent. And then let your feet return to the ground. Your choice to set up for your final relaxation. So if there's any other shapes you want to take, maybe it's a twist, a gentle twist side to side. We did hit twists earlier, but if your body's craving it, go for it. Or if you want your legs to go long, that might feel nice. Either a pillow under your head or under your knees, or the back of your thighs can also feel really nice. Just take the next few minutes and get yourself comfortable. And then once you have found your final resting shape on the ground, see if you can soften right away the features of your face. So maybe even take like a swallow, can sometimes feel nice, and encourage the tongue to soften, the jaw to soften. As a result, the shoulders soften. All the way down to the tips of the fingers, they soften. Allow the eyes to close if they haven't already. And take a settling breath once you're there. Full breath in, a big breath out. And then see if the space across your chest can soften a bit more across the collarbones. Then you even let the breath be at ease, if you can, just a natural rhythm. And then imagine the muscles in the belly soften, release, relax. And then in turn, the muscles in the low back, even your glute muscles, sometimes we don't even realize we're holding tension there. Maybe encourage them to soften as well. And then in turn, the muscles in the legs, the upper legs, both front and back, soften and release. If there's tension in the knees, or even in the lower legs, the ankles, the feet. If even for a moment, can you just allow them to rest, to release, to soften? And give yourself permission to land in this space where your whole body is able to land in stillness, knowing that it is just as productive, if not even more, than movement. Your mind begs to wander or has wandered. Just observe it without any judgment. And bring it back to this moment, to this physical moment, maybe even to the rhythm or the cadence of your breath. Again, noticing an inhale, slow exhale. And returning to that natural rhythm or just observing the flow of breath in and out. And your next breath in, see if you can breathe in just a little bit more, but not bringing any tension in as you inhale. Maybe let your lips part, let the breath slowly exit and empty. Do that one more time right here. Breathe in and slow. Breathe out. And then over your next few rounds of breath, and you think of that breath sort of like waking your body up. So just intuitive movement, if you can find it. Maybe it's a rocking of the head, side to side, movement in the fingers, and the toes or the ankles and the wrists. And start to, first so gently, just bend your knees if you can, and then roll to the side of your choice. And I'd like you to pause there. So rather than just like pushing yourself up right away, nice and quick to a seat, and then moving on to the next, see if you can pause as you roll to your side. And then intentionally, slowly press yourself up to return to a seat. So maybe beginning to shift from this place of needing to go, go, go. And yes, life calls us to move quickly, often, and at times more than others. So maybe you shift from that needing to go fast, or maybe that just being also on autopilot, to maybe just moving with a little bit more intention and a little bit more observation or slow intentional movement from one thing to the next, whether that's mentally, physically, just creating a little bit more space in between. Easier said than done, but just a nice thing to put as an intention or something to just work on. And once you are in that seat, you can sit up just a little bit taller, chest a little bit broader. Take one big breath in here. Again, you might open your mouth, let out that slow sigh. You can stay here, or if it feels okay or right, bring your hands together in front of your chest here. Maybe even bow your chin, your head towards that space, just drawing inward for a moment and giving yourself a little bit of gratitude, honoring yourself for showing up, for creating this time for yourself so you can move and breathe, create a little more space in your body, in your mind, even, or even space between being called to do something and then your reaction. Maybe you choose to keep that intention or awareness for the rest of your day, the rest of your week. Stay here or bring your thumb tips to the center of your forehead, maybe even lifting your face. Namaste. Thank you.